Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guests today are from Adoption, Rhode Island. My first guest has been on the show before. Her name is Darlene Allen, and she is the executive director. Sorry about the name.
It's okay.
But it was a while ago since you were on the phone. But you were on the show before.
I was on the show before.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
So for those who are not familiar with it, tell us about the organization Adoption, Rhode Island.
Well, Adoption Rhode Island is a nonprofit organization, and we're located in Providence, Rhode Island, but we serve the entire state of Rhode Island. Our mission is to find families for kids in foster care and to provide support services to kids and families throughout the process of adoption and beyond, and really to provide hope to kids in foster care and families that are interested in caring for them.
How far back does this organization go?
Well, that's a great question because we're ready to embark on our 30th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
so
amazing.
we've been doing this for quite some time now, and it's a very vital organization that has grown over the years, but stayed true to the mission.
Evolved, I would imagine, to meet the changing times that they are and to meet the needs of people nowadays, right? And the kids.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because although, again, the core mission really and the belief that children do best and need families is always our driving force, but the ways that we approach that and the services that we deliver continue to kind of stay ahead of the curve and to keep moving forward.
This may seem like an obvious question, but if you go back in time to when Adoption Rhode Island formed, how was it decided that there was a need for this?
Well, actually, although I wasn't part of Adoption Rhode Island, the history really speaks for itself. Rhode Island Department of Children and Families, like many other child welfare agencies across the country, found themselves in a situation where they had children that were in foster care and they had absolutely no mechanism to be able to find families for them if they weren't able to safely return to their birth families. So they actually went to neighboring state here in New England, Massachusetts, and worked with the Massachusetts Adoption Resource Exchange, and they helped to develop this program here in Rhode Island.
What is the state of affairs in Rhode Island at this point right now as far as adoptions that need to happen? I mean, is it at a critical state?
Well, for every child, it's a critical state
That's
because,
true.
It's something that I believe everyone deserves, no matter what age you're at. But in the state of Rhode Island, we have a little less than 2,000 children right now in foster care, and several hundred of those children are on the adoption track.
Now, so what do you do? What is like the first steps that people would take, and how is Adoption Rhode Island involved in the process going from step one to the end?
Well, the first thing we would say is, why don't you give us a call or come to one of our information meetings. We hold information meetings at our office, as well as different locations across the state to try to bring out the message that we're looking for families that care about kids and would like to do something to help children. Of course, we need families that are going to adopt these children, but we're really trying to reach out into the community and say, everyone has something to give back to a child. So if you're thinking that maybe there's something that you can do to help a child in foster care, give us a call, send us an email, come to an information meeting. We'd like to hear from you. So that's the first step.
Conversely, if someone's thinking that maybe they are not suitable or the right person, or maybe financially not sure about it, if they called, possibly you can, explain to them maybe they, in fact, are a good potential family, as far as adoption goes, and they may be overthinking it, and maybe things aren't as bad as they think for them.
Well, exactly, and I'm really glad that you brought that up because many people are afraid to kind of take that first step and they think, well, maybe I won't be approved or...
That's the toughest part, isn't it? The first step.
The first step.
Yeah.
Most people, when they take the first step, they've been thinking about it and kind of pondering it
They
for
just need
a
a
long
little
time.
nudge.
They need a little nudge, and they need to hear from us that we welcome families, whether you're single, you're younger, you're older, you're gay, you're married. If you're a person that really wants to care for a child, we want to talk to you and see if that's the right step for you.
And you answered a question, some might wonder, alternative lifestyle families, how about that? And obviously, you're okay with that. You encourage that.
Yeah, we believe that, if you're somebody that can care for a child, we have children that need care.
No matter what the demographics are of families in general nowadays, the makeup, the lifestyle of people. What is it like nowadays, and is there a suitable adoption situation for everybody, regardless of what their lifestyle is? And by that, I mean their career, just everything along the lines.
Actually, again, really wanting to open our arms to a variety of different individuals and couples across the state and across the country. I wouldn't say there's one particular suitable prototype, because
right. Everybody's different.
Everybody's different, every child is different, and every situation is different and unique. So we really try to work with the community and prospective families as well as the children to try to help match them accordingly. So, whether you're somebody that, spends a lot of time playing video games, or you love football, or, you're a fashionista, there could be a child that has those exact same interests and strengths. And so we'd like to see if you'd make a good match.
How do you do that, though? How do you match people and children up to see if it's a good fit?
Well, once someone expresses an interest in becoming an adoptive parent, we then refer them back to the state of Rhode Island for additional screening and a home study. So they would go to some classes and they would complete an application form and really work through that process with the state of Rhode Island. And so then once they kind of go through that process and really kind of sit back, and especially if it's a couple, both of them really being honest with each other around what makes sense for our family, then they come back to us. They have some general criteria that they've decided on, and then we help to go from there, and we work with them based upon to the children that are in need of families.
Is it an eye-opening experience for some potential people who, after have gone through the process, go, wow, it's you understand it better. Maybe it's more entailed, but I have a better appreciation. Anything along those lines after they go through it?
Yeah, it sounds like you've.
No, I mean,
you're
this is just
them.
common sense stuff, don't you think?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think that we all, sometimes we learn things very intellectually, and we think we're prepared, but then when in real life, whatever the situation is, and once you start walking in those shoes, it is something that is very eye-opening, and sometimes is very challenging, but sometimes it also really, gives people a sense of, wow, this is really the right path for
It's
me.
a fulfillment, and you probably don't appreciate it until you begin to experience it, right?
Yep. It's amazing.
The economy, the way it's been in recent years, has that been sort of made it that much more difficult for you to match people up just because of people's finances and just the way things have been overall? I don't know, you could maybe speak to Rhode Island specifically, but nationally we're coming out of a recession.
Right. It has changed things for us. It has both offered some opportunities and challenges. The opportunities really are around families that, because of the economy, as well as changes in domestic and international adoptions, are actually thinking about, well, maybe I should check out public child welfare adoption. Maybe I should think about, there might be a child in our community that we could parent. So we're actually getting a number of people that are calling us, coming to our information meetings that probably would never have come before. So that's the opportunity that some of these, economic challenges and changes in adoption have helped around the work that we do. The challenges around the economy is clearly that there have been, many of the organizations that have supported us in the past have either cut back or are closed. The state budgets have been decreased. And so trying to make sure that, meeting the multiple needs of kids in the foster care system and families that adopt them is something that we're really challenged with, and we're really full speed ahead in trying to make sure that we fill those gaps.
Is it fulfilling for you when you just see a child get adopted? I mean, does it make your day? I mean, it's got to be what you live for, because I can hear the passion.
Yeah, it is. It's actually, people will say, oh, you work at Adoption Rhode Island, how lovely, and it's everything, it's every emotion, but I'll tell you, there's absolutely nothing like seeing a child and really seeing the family that, it takes a lot of time and a lot of commitment, and when they come together and when you stand next to them in court and the adoption occurs, there's absolutely nothing as beautiful as that. It's just
all worthwhile,
it's just a
isn't it?
wonderful, joyous thing.
What are the day-to-day duties of the executive director for Adoption Rhode Island? What are those?
Well, they're varied.
Yeah, no day is the same, is it?
No day is the same. It can run from program development, really trying to establish programs that meet the needs of these kids and families, to dealing with a crisis on a case, to going to a filming to try to help raise awareness about the children in care, to calling our landlord because our, roof is leaking,
You wear many hats.
So
You're also a PR person too, right?
PR,
Yeah.
you do a little marketing, a little social media, and basically really spreading the message of Adoption Rhode Island.
Adoption, you mentioned social media, so that means you're on Facebook and all those things. And you also have a website too. What's the website?
Yep. Our website is www.adoptionri.org.
And what's on it?
And what's on it? It's a great website. It's very colorful. We have activities. We have our mission. We have steps to become involved if you're interested in either becoming a parent or you want to support the organization. And we also have an area where some of the children who are legally freed for adoption are profiled, so that that might give you a little hint about some of the children in Rhode Island waiting for families.
We're going to wrap up your segment, but one question I want to ask you, because this is a big step for most people in their lives. So if they have misgivings, or if you think you'd want to clear up any misconceptions about adoption in general, or maybe just enough to kind of push them to at least inquire, make the call, what would you say to them?
Well, like I said earlier, that everyone has something to give to a child, and not at a given time they might be ready for adoption, but they might be thinking about it. So the first step is really kind of reaching out to us, getting involved with us, maybe becoming somebody that participates in some of our events, maybe thinking, and so I think that getting to know us, getting to know the children, knowing that we're here to support you, it is a lifelong decision, so we don't want people to take it lightly, but it is something that we would love people to consider.
Absolutely. Darlene Allen, the Executive Director of Adoption Rhode Island, thanks for coming back and being on the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
We've got more to get to, so we'll take a break and come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay with us. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guests today are from Adoption Rhode Island. In this second segment, we have Judy McSoley, Director of Development and Community Relations. It's your first time on the show, correct?
It is my first time.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Let's talk about that title, Director of Development and Community Relations for Adoption Rhode Island. What is that?
It's a long title.
It is. It barely fits on the card here.
I know. Well, actually, I get to do a lot of great things. I get to go out and talk to people about our mission, help people to know who we are and what we do, and let them know how it is that they may help. At Adoption Rhode Island, we always say not everyone can adopt, but there are a number of ways that people can help, and we're so fortunate that we have such a supportive community that comes forward and does help.
We could kind of continue and expound on what Darlene and I were talking about toward the end of her segment about people who might have some misgivings or misconceptions about it. You're there to kind of clear those up a little bit, right?
Exactly.
And what are people's main concerns about before they take that first step into what will change their life, no doubt?
Well, I think that a lot of people are really, especially first-time parents, but really anyone, sometimes they're apprehensive about taking that step and feeling like, suppose we can't do it. And I think one of the messages that Adoption Rhode Island gives over and over again is that you will not be alone with this, that we are there to support you beforehand, we're there to help your other children if you have any, and we'll be there afterwards for as long as a family needs us. We have families that come back when their child is 12, 13, and they may have adopted them 10 years before that.
Right.
But they're struggling a little bit,
Those
or they
teen
feel
years, boy.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
they feel as though they just might need a little help with it. And some families stay connected with us all the time, right through their we have people that come back and their children are young adults, and they have stayed connected all those years. So I think that's it helps people feel very confident that they know that we're going to be there for them.
But when you say be there for them, does that mean, like, for example, those tough teen years, is there, what can you do to help them with that? Do you have people, counselors, things of that sort?
Yes, we do. Yes. We have a great clinical support program. We have programs that work in the homes. For some families that works, and so we have clinical social workers that will go into the home, and it's kind of, if a family's in crisis or just so that there is no crisis, they'll go into the home and work with the family. So we have agency-based services as well as in the community.
And you can understand the misgivings because it is a huge step. It changes their life dramatically. And it's not like you can just return it to the store like you can a product that you buy. This is a big deal, and it needs to work, and that's why a lot of thought and a lot of self. You just look inward and then outward before you take that step, and it is a big deal.
It is, and the same as giving birth to a child, and there are the ups and downs of parenting, no matter how you begin that process. And so I think that we have support groups where parents can come and spend time with other parents that have adopted, and I just think we really work hard to make sure that no one is isolated.
And some people would be concerned. There's a fairly intensive and comprehensive vetting process to make sure that the right adults are with the right kids, right? I would imagine. I know it goes through the state and everything, but it's a big deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the most important thing, of course, is that a child who has had, a past that has been less than secure is placed with a family where they're safe and loved. And so there is that process. But it's pretty painless. It's kind of quick, and it happens, and families move on in the process. So
How long have you been doing this for now?
I've been at Adoption Rhode Island, I think, 12 years.
12 years. What's changed over the course of that time? Obviously, a good organization evolves, to meet the needs of the people, and you learn how to do some things, and you make some changes. What's different now than it was 12 years ago?
Well, I think that we've grown. We're very proud of that. As Darlene mentioned before, we're beginning our 30th anniversary. And in those 30 years, I know that things have changed a lot, and just in the 12 that I have been there, we've really expanded our support services. We're very responsive to whatever the need is in the community. So whatever comes up, then that's the area that we're trying to put services in so that we are there for families and children. But in 30 years, we've accomplished a lot, and we're very proud of the growth that we have had.
Very nice. And the type of people who are doing the adopting, have you noticed the changes in them? Are there different people, different lifestyles? Again, we were talking about careers, which are different, single families. We talked about the alternative lifestyles. There are so many different kinds of people that adopt, and there's somebody for everyone, right?
There really is, and we have so many families, wonderful families that come forward, and families can look different, all different, combinations, and have a lot of success parenting children.
I want to get into some of the things that you definitely want to talk about. For example, aside from is there anything you want to add to the 30th anniversary? Because it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal for us.
Not a lot of organizations can say that.
Yes, it's a big deal, and we're very excited about it. And so in November, which is National Adoption Month, the 20th of November, we have our kickoff of our anniversary year, which will happen at the State House. We have an event there every year.
Is it a fundraising event?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, we have an event there every year to celebrate National Adoption Month, but it's big for us this year because it also is the beginning of our anniversary year. And so it's the opening of the Heart Gallery. The Heart Gallery is a professional group of portraits of children that are waiting to be adopted. So there's 20 children, and portraits are taken by Rhode Island's best photographers. Actually, today, the New England Patriots photographer is one of our Heart Gallery photographers, and he's photographing one of our children today at Gillette Stadium. So, but these portraits are beautiful, and it's a moving gallery. It moves around the state. So it opens at the State House, and then every month it goes somewhere new. And this is our 9th year doing it. and it's a very successful recruitment tool. We've got a lot of wonderful families that have come forward that have seen the gallery. So that opens that night, and then that week it's also National Adoption Day at the courthouse, when between 20 and 25 children will finalize their adoption.
Well, so that's a big deal.
It's
too.
a big month. It's a big month.
Big month, and so you'll be there as a part of it. For what you do with Adoption Rhode Island, are you on the road more than you're like in the office per se?
A combination of
Yeah.
both. A combination of both. I mean, actually, I'll take any opportunity to go out and talk to anyone and let them know about our mission and about the wonderful children that we serve. And so oftentimes that's what I'm doing. But there's a lot of time in the office too. So we love to have people come visit us. And
when people have, what's the biggest question people ask you? What's their biggest concern? What's the number one thing people are wondering about that you can answer for them?
I think for a lot of people, it's if they're going to adopt, of course, it's the questions that you would imagine, whether or not they can do it and whether or not they might be the right child for them. But for a lot of people, the question is, what can I do to help? You know, I'm not in a position to adopt, or we've raised our children and we're beyond that, but we want to help. And
Excellent.
And there are a lot of ways that people can help us.
Let's talk about that, because maybe adoption isn't right for them right now. Maybe a little ways down the road it is. But if they can still help in other ways, what can they do?
Well, they can call us and come in and visit, and we can talk about those ways. But quickly, there's, we have people that come in and volunteer. They'll donate their time and their talents.
Does it sort of be a mentor to?
Yes, be a mentor to come in and we had someone that was tutoring one of our older kids who wanted to get his GED. We have artists that come in and will work with our children to expose them to art and music and things that they should have the opportunity to explore, as well as we have people that will do fundraisers for us. As part of our 30th year, we're going to be doing a number of things. We have a gala in May, on May 3rd, and it's going to be very special, and that's a way that some people will say, we want to support the agency, how can we do that? Well, for some people it's coming to our events and helping us that way. During the summer, where we've decided that this summer, June, July, and August will be the summer of hope for Adoption Rhode Island, and so we're reaching out to our friends and our contacts to invite them to host a fundraiser in their home any way they want. So kind of an opportunity to attend a fundraiser but not have to leave your house and do it with the people that you enjoy spending time with. So that might be a barbecue, it might be a baseball party, it might be a formal dinner with a chef coming in to cook it. But whatever it is that however you're comfortable entertaining.
So you could do whatever you would normally do maybe on a Sunday afternoon, and it can be a fundraiser at the same time.
Exactly.
That's
And we've
great.
had a lot of people sign up for it already, so we're very hopeful that it's going to be fun. It's going to be a nice
interesting
summer.
how you're mentioning things like in May and then in the
Yes.
summer. There's stuff going on all year. Depending on what time of year it is your job different? I mean, I know you're working on a lot of the fundraising stuff and all that.
It's busy all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
these months are particularly busy because we're heading into National Adoption Month. And the holidays, we do a holiday drive for our children so that no one is forgotten. And that's another way that people oftentimes help. A lot of groups, organizations will get together and collect gifts and gift certificates for all of our kids, including our teens, so that really no one is forgotten. And
Are the holidays a tough time of year for these kids, or do you make it more of a joyful time of year? I mean, do people tend to adopt more or less during the holidays?
I don't know that it's more or less, but I do think it's a more difficult time of year for children. I mean, we do our best, as do everyone that works with them, to make it as happy as it can be and have them have the joy that all children have. But it certainly is a hard time of year to not have a family.
I guess the best present of all would be to be adopted by a family, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. What a heck of a Christmas present that would be. You mentioned the fundraisers. I would imagine that they're all on the website.
They are all on our
How far
website.
ahead are they? Like, you got stuff on the website coming up for this coming summer or 2014 summer?
I don't think the summer
No?
events is
But
up
you
yet.
know about it. It's
I
up
know about
there.
it, and it will be up soon.
Yeah. And so what are the different kinds of fundraising events you have? You talked about a couple of them, but are they just various different things depending on the time of year it is?
Exactly, different things. And we're going to also this year honor a lot of the people. We want to have an event to honor people that have been there for Adoption Rhode Island. We have a very rich history of 30 years of people in the community and other professionals and families that have really supported the agency and been there for us all the way through. And so we really are going to find a way to thank them this year and really honor them too.
It's not just, those could be people who have adopted or who have just been involved with the organization in some kind of way, volunteering.
Yep.
And they just kind of, do you have a lot of adoptive parents who have adopted who have given back even after they've adopted? So, you know, I love this organization so much. It meant the world to me because it brought this child or children with me. I just want to give back some, and then they come back somehow. And
Definitely,
yeah.
definitely. And especially, I think, too, families are very eager to help other families that are just beginning the process.
What better person to ask and to get over those misgivings than somebody
Yes.
else who's adopted?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And families are eager to do that and will give of their time to just, you know, help a family that's beginning the process. We have adoption parties. We have a few every year, and families that are waiting to adopt and children that are waiting for families, but also adoptive families attend. And it's a great opportunity for families that are beginning the process to meet, you know, to meet families that have been already adopted and have some experience.
One more time on the website so people can go and learn more.
www.adoptionri.org.
Judy McSoley, the Director of Development and Community Relations for Adoption Rhode Island, thank you for being on the show
Thank you
today.
so much for having me.
And thank you for joining us for another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. We will see you next time. Take care.